go. Hello, welcome to the Enginerdy Show. This is Mr. Pold.
I'm St. Jimmy.
I'm DVD.
Subdued today.
What?
What?
You're a subdued.
Oh, I thought you said sup, dude. Sup, dude. Today.
Sup?
You just sounded a little subdued.
Chicken sup for the soul.
Chicken sup. Wee!
It's not a chicken. That's a Schwein.
A Schwein.
Das Schwein.
Oh boy. Our fake sponsor this week is Jurassic Park. Our tallest mammals get loose.
I'm not sure I'm getting chased.
Tallest mammal. Hey, that ties in with nerdiculture, actually.
Oh,
Just
boy.
imagine the Pope in a Jeep. Someone has a shocked expression on their face. They look up in awe, and the camera pans around, and there's a herd of giraffe.
And they say, sup, dude.
Sup?
Is that what a giraffe would sound like?
Giraffe are the mimickers of the animal kingdom,
Oh, I wasn't aware of that.
according to my zoo book.
So
magazine.
they sound like leopards?
They can sound whatever they want, like
Whatever they want.
That's why you never
whatever
hear
they
them.
want. That's right.
Because they don't want to sound like anything.
And when you go to see them at the zoo and you think someone's making racial slurs at you, it's actually the
What?
giraffes.
Really?
Yeah, that's
They're
my
like-
experience, anyways.
Parrots of the mammal kingdom?
They're also actually really good at hiding.
Is that because Polly wants a cracker? Is that where you go with that?
Because you never see them around, do you?
Oh, okay. What, giraffes?
Yeah.
They
I don't
see you, though.
I think they're native to our land.
Maybe they are, and they're just
Zimbabwe?
really good at hiding.
They just look like trees with spots, spotty
Did
trees.
I just beep?
Possibly.
Is that me?
I wanted to beep.
Sometimes you can't help it.
What have, you,
Sometimes you feel like a beep.
what have you guys been up to this week?
I went to a large metropolitan area 3 hours from here last
Oh.
weekend.
Where Master Zed lives?
Yes. I went to Master Zed's house.
Cairo?
Kylo Ren?
Cairo,
Oh,
Egypt.
Egypt.
Is
I
that
just thought
3
you had a
hours from
poor
Zimbabwe?
accent.
By plane,
Oh,
I drove.
maybe.
Anyway, we went. My wife and I went and saw the Journey Def Leppard concert that
Oh,
they
that's
had down
oh
there.
yes.
You
Like,
journeyed to Def Leppard.
Yes, there were many Def Leppards there.
was it deaf?
Is that a nickname for old people?
We did see someone do sign language for the deaf.
Oh,
That's
weird.
apropos.
Yeah, exactly. That's what I
Better
said.
than a deaf cougar.
Well, there was some of the cougars there too.
Ooh, I bet.
It's good thing you had your wife with you.
I know. There was like 5 of them sitting in front of us. Actually, I think most of them were married, but one of them was sitting on the guy next to her.
Wow.
Maybe she was
he
married to
much
him.
younger than her?
Okay, let me be honest. Most people in attendance were between 40 and 50 years old.
Okay. Seems about right.
Yeah. I did see a few kids. I'm like, why are they here?
That's like seeing an older person at like a
My kids would go to a Bon Jovi
modern
concert.
rock concert. Like I went to this, it was called X Fest because it was the radio station was the X.
Uh-huh.
And there was like Papa Roach there and the red jumpsuit apparatus, you know, a bunch of bands that younger people would like. But there was
Not anymore.
there was an older gentleman with his teenage daughter there,
Ah,
and he looked very out of place.
I bet.
But then during the Papa Roach concert, which was towards the end, I saw him crowd surfing.
I saw a father with his teenage daughter at
He was probably
Cypress
y'all's
Hill,
age, but I was much younger
Oh.
then.
and he looked very uncomfortable. And he was in military dress. or
Oh.
uniform. I don't think it was dress uniform. I think it was in his BDUs, what they call them,
You're not supposed to wear those just out in public.
your camouflage.
Yeah.
He was there. Must have come straight from work.
Yeah, I guess if he was coming straight from work, then he'd
But he looked
Be
really
wearing 'em.
uncomfortable when they came on stage
F the police.
with the huge inflatable Buddha they had on stage and the
With
interesting change of smell in the venue.
Yeah.
So both Journey and Def Leppard really rocked. They were awesome.
Good.
It's kind of interesting. I don't know if you know the history of Journey, but they started in 1973.
I don't know their journey through life.
Okay.
And their lead singer through the 80s or 70s and 80s was Steve Perry.
Okay.
And in the 90s, he
started making movies for.
Well, he released a solo album, but he released another album with Journey, and then he broke his hip
Hmm.
and he refused to get surgery, so he basically left the band at that point. This would be like 97, 98 time frame.
Weird.
So Journey went without a lead singer for a while, and about between 10 and 15 years ago, the lead guitar player of Journey was looking through YouTube, looking at
As one does.
looking at cover bands that
As one would, I guess.
and he found a couple cover bands that did Journey songs.
Mm-hmm.
And then he came across this guy who sounded exactly like Steve Perry.
Oh.
Do they have a fun cover band name? Because usually they're really clever.
It was just called
it wasn't. I don't remember being clever. I remember seeing the name of it, but I don't remember what it was now. It was a Filipino band.
Oh, yeah.
It was spelled J-E-R.
I didn't know that their new
N-E-E.
singer was Filipino.
Yeah, so he knew the guy that produced the video for the Filipino guy.
Oh.
And so he got in touch with him that way, and the guy thought it was a joke at first.
Yeah.
Thought he was being pranked. Well, when he got over that, they said, we want you to come and meet the band, and they hired him. So he's been touring with them for the last 10 to 15 years.
We should start a cover band.
Which band do we want to come with?
Who do we sound like?
We sound like
That's missing a lead singer.
Lady Gaga.
Three Amigos.
I don't think so.
Why would you want to tour with her?
Perry
You.
Como.
I don't think he tours anymore. Elvis.
Kevin Bacon. Doesn't he sing?
Yeah, his Bacon Brothers.
So this guy that they have, he's probably around 50 now.
Okay.
But he was very energetic, running around, jumping. And
How are his hips doing?
he looks like he's not going to break his hip.
Oh, good.
So
Yeah, one of my coworkers asked me today what if I thought it was going to rain tomorrow. And I was like, well, my hip is kind of hurting. It's like, all right, rain. It's like,
there was one annoying thing at the concert. Port in the city, I did smell it, but not at the concert, surprisingly.
I didn't know it was legal in the port of Cairo.
Anyway, this guy that sat next to me, right before the concert started, he's like, "Oh, it looks like you guys are a nice couple. It seems like every other concert we go to, we end up sitting next to jerks and stuff." I'm like, "Okay."
Uh-oh.
So,
I have red
out.
flags going on. Or red
I
flags,
should have.
warning
That should have
bells.
clued me into something, but
Like
So-
So everyone you encounter is a
you
jerk.
behave
If-
in such a
Oh,
way.
I'm sorry, you're a jerk.
so this was at a basketball arena, and we were on the middle section, like the second row back from the edge.
Oh, cool. Edge is there?
And like I said, there were these 5 women between 40 and 50 years old that sat in front of us.
Mhm.
And what do you do at concerts?
Stand up
You stand up.
and dance.
Stand up.
Exactly. Well, the guy sitting next to me kept getting ticked off that these women in front of us were standing up.
Oh, yes. He's one of those.
One of those, eh?
And between Journey and Def Leppard, they noticed a couple seats, one were forward, that were not occupied, so they moved there, which was great because then I had no idiot sitting next to me.
Nice.
Sitting next to
Yeah,
me.
grumbling and being irritated.
And the few times I glanced over there, they were sitting the whole time, which I guess is fine if you're on the front row.
No,
Yeah.
maybe they have the same thing that Steve Perry had.
Yeah.
Broken
Bad hips.
I don't know. This guy was just
The hips don't lie, man.
way too annoyed.
He lives his life annoyed. So
And it almost
if you tell someone a complete
enough to
stranger that other
ruin-
people are a jerk, then
yes.
it's you. Stop speaking to other people at some point.
It was almost enough to kind of ruin it for me.
Yeah, I don't like that.
I like when we went with LFG, he seemed kind of annoyed at some people, and it kind of bugged me too.
Oh,
For some reason, I guess having people around me annoyed really
you're empathic.
shakes me up. Yes.
I'll start calling you counselor.
I
Pole.
think that's what it is.
Counselor
Pole.
boy.
Yes, I do have a tendency to internalize other people's feelings.
Oh, so you're like, what's the Spock's brother?
Cybok?
Cybok, yeah.
Mr. Cybok.
Yes. What did he say? You have pain or something. I
Let
feel your
me
Let me
feel you.
pain. Let me feel your pain.
Let me see your.
Good thing it didn't mean
pain.
major pain. He'd be in there, but he wouldn't be happy.
I need my pain.
Yeah. Anyway, other than that, the show is awesome.
Good.
I had a 3-day
So-
work week this week.
Good for you.
Gross.
It was nice.
I worked 5 days.
I shot my best round of golf ever.
Oh yeah, I saw something on Facebook.
Awesome.
What'd you get? Like
84.
not an 18.
No, I'm not the not the dictator of North Korea yet.
84. That sounds pretty good
Last time I played there, I got 91.
for 6 holes.
Wow.
I think my
Just
best
kidding.
ever there was 89. So I took
Oh.
5 off of my best score.
Good job.
I left some on the course too.
See, cheating pays off.
Changing your grip actually changed off.
Oh,
It was
Maybe I
as
need to
simple
change
as
my
are
taking
you
grip.
mean the?
my right
how you
thumb.
hold
I
it?
was putting on
Oh.
top of the club. I moved it past the edge of the club just a little bit.
Oh.
Hmm.
I think I have bigger problems than that.
I know. I've seen you go.
Well, I don't know how to do it,
You
so I
just
just
need to
do it.
more often.
Maybe.
Just like figure out
Someday.
the
My
grip
oldest-
that's good for you with horseshoes.
My oldest son figured out his swing by watching the loading thing on Tiger Woods Golf.
Oh,
He has a very beautiful looking swing.
wow.
Full back swing, full follow through. It's very smooth. I was like, oh,
Cool.
but all my kids are way better at naturally at golf than I am.
Well, I figured out why I was sick for so long.
Yeah, you thought you had
Someone
mono, but
left-
it turned out you were just really
Someone left
bored.
a glove in your body after surgery.
No,
Oh.
no, it was a sinus infection.
Oh, yeah. If you don't treat those with actual antibiotics, they'll just linger.
Do you have to let it linger?
Do you have
Do you have to lick my finger?
Gross.
No, you don't. Wet Willy.
So now I'm on antibiotics.
Antibiotics.
Good
Me
thing
too.
Good thing I'm not bionic.
What was
But
the
you
sound
are
effect?
biotic,
I am.
Biotic.
hopefully.
So my cubemate and I have a fish now at
In
work.
your-
Fish?
At work.
Yeah,
What?
it's a beta. It's a little fish tank.
Oh, couldn't get an alpha.
His name's,
I didn't know you could bring pets to work.
oddly enough, you don't have to ask.
Okay.
His name's Bob Ross.
Okay. Does he do paintings?
Maybe we haven't figured it out yet.
You haven't given him a paintbrush yet.
Oh, we have it.
They keep dumping paint in there and he doesn't do anything with it.
Apparently, betas are very lazy fish.
They like
Well, at what
happy
point-
freeze too.
My cubemate's like, I think he's listing to the port. You look over, he's like floating. Like he doesn't swim all the time. He just like picks a corner and just sits there.
He probably is picking up the vibe of the workplace.
I told him we should take one of our technical documents and put it next to him so he had something to read for the weekend.
Well,
It's fun.
That would make me list the port.
you figure if you knew how to paint, you should know how to read, right?
Yeah. Yeah, you should. That's what's new in my life.
Huh.
Oh, and we have a broken car now. That's fun. My son's car.
You mean I could have parked and blocked it in and
Yeah.
no one would care? Oh man. I always park on the street now because I feel like when I don't, I get blocked in and someone needs me to move the car in the middle of the podcast.
That happens.
So
It seems like, I don't know if my wife just looks out the window and if you park behind her, she has to go someplace.
that's what I figured.
She's trying to train you. Apparently it's working.
What I really should do is get here before St. Jimmy gets here, and then I can park behind you.
Yeah,
Hmm.
that could work.
And I knew that the other car was broke down, so I could have parked behind it.
So-
Oh yeah.
I went to tow this car from where it was broken down. This happened last podcast.
Yes.
So,
What happened to it?
he was getting off the freeway and it just died. I was like,
Okay.
well, were there lights? Yeah, I think there was some lights flashing or whatever on the dash. So we tried to jump it, no go. Check the oil right there. It had oil in it.
Oh, that's good.
I don't remember if I checked
You're
I think
out
I
of
did end
gas?
up checking the coolant, and there was not coolant in it.
Oh, no coolant.
And I was looking for a place for the tow hook to go. I noticed there was some moisture on some of the stuff down there.
Uh-oh. Burst hose?
I don't know. I
often
haven't
get
checked yet.
moisture near my tow hook.
So I was looking for a place to hook the tow strap.
Uh-huh.
Couldn't find one. I was like, what in the world? So I'm sitting there and I was looking at the bumper. I'm like, what's this little? There's like a little square thing like this big.
Yeah, you open it and there's a threaded hole.
Yeah, I pulled it off and there's a threaded hole in there. I was like, that's what that's for.
Yeah.
Because my
Oh.
car had one. I went back and scrounged through his spare tire stuff and found there's like a eyelet with a big.
Oh, wow.
So you just thread it in there.
And it started right up. Oh.
So
I kept cranking on it. It wouldn't start.
it's very stressful to be the towee for
Mm.
someone that's not
Good at towing.
good at towing, which my wife and I haven't done in years. We thought we thought we were past the bad car thing. We didn't think about having kids with cheap older cars.
Yeah.
So I spent
So
most of the
she's
time
not a
like
towhead.
2-footing the brake to give enough pressure on the tow rope, and occasionally she just let the engine idle, and there's just like slowly coasting, and it's just like sometimes hitting stop signs when you can slow roll them if you're towing somebody. I was like, that's way better. There's no cops going to hang out at a stop sign
Mhm.
Right.
in our neighborhood. We would have known that already. But we got it all the way home. And I replaced the battery because the brain drained the battery dead with his flashers. I looked at his battery's like 6 years old. I was like, oh, it probably needs anyway.
Mm.
So I replaced that. It tried to start more vigorously, so the engine turns over, but it just won't catch. So I actually just bought a cool little device. Should get here tomorrow to plug into the what's it called? The ODB
Mhm.
Yeah.
O2 OBD. One of
Yep.
those.
OCD.
Anyways. You plug it in there, and then it uses Wi-Fi to talk to an app on your phone.
Oh, those are cool. I want one. How
They're
much
like
was it?
$10.
What?
Yeah.
Oh.
It was one I got it on Amazon. There was some on eBay that were like $6, but I don't remember my PayPal information.
Mm.
And Amazon's just easier.
Yeah.
And the Amazon, I went and just sorted by most
Click through to
The best
Amazon
ones.
on the engineerdyshow.com.
maybe. I don't remember. I think I bookmarked it at one point, so
There you go.
hopefully. But yeah, I got the one that had all 5-star ratings. No one had rated it lower than 5
Oh.
stars.
Hmm.
So I'll use that
Out of
and I
what,
can
20?
check and see if there's something that shows. I could also compression test it since an engine will turn. I'll have to figure out how to do that. I might be needing St. Jimmy to come help me at some point.
Yeah.
And I also need to do take all the vehicles I have that don't have motors or working motors and rotate them one slot. So I need to take the Fiero out of the garage, put it in the side yard, take the boat that's in the side yard, put it in the where the
Car is.
car is, and put that car in the garage to work on it. Because I need to
Sounds
sell
fun.
the boat. If anyone wants a drift boat, I'm selling one.
Hmm.
I've had a few bites. I put it on Facebook Marketplace. And
If you get a new head for the Fiero, then we can drive it out of the garage.
How much does a new head cost?
my marriage. No, my wife doesn't want me to spend any money on Zach's car.
She wants him to?
Yeah, as soon as he gets a job, he has plans to buy the parts.
Okay.
Oh, all right. As long as you have a plan in place.
Problem is, then he needs a plan to probably tow it to where he lives now, because I wouldn't trust it to drive that far
Get a trailer.
or drive it an hour, get out, hang out for an hour, check the coolant, make sure it's fine, go another hour.
I just don't think you want to tow it with a tow rope all the way.
Probably not.
With your wife pulling you.
Yeah, no.
That's why I say get a
It's
trailer.
fun when you tow that long and you're riding the brake that much to keep the road taut. It starts warming your pedal up.
I
You
bet.
start getting hot foot a little bit.
If I wear shoes.
Oh, that's
kidding.
probably a good idea. If it has the retractable floor thing, so you can like Scooby or
Stick your
Flintstones
feet
it.
down. Ah,
Uh,
all the heels are worn off my
but I
shoes.
understand why our dad bought a car trailer when we were all young. It's like we had
It's
6 kids with cars that
Come
are
in
old.
handy.
He's rescued us more times than I
We
can
had-
count.
Didn't we have 10 cars in the driveway at one point with half of them were running at a time?
I think so. I think half of them were yours that weren't running.
Because you had that.
You had the
what was that,
Omni.
Saab,
You had the Saab.
I didn't have those at the same
the
time.
Ranchero.
Well, technically the Saab was still there. It was just parked over the junkyard, right?
Well, it was in the driveway.
I was working on it for a while.
Yeah,
Had to rewire a bunch of stuff.
we had a couple Toyotas.
What happened to the Omni?
Oldsmobile.
I got
What's an Omni?
it was
Dodge?
mine,
I
but
don't remember
Tiny
that
little
car.
hatchback.
yeah,
Might have been while you
I-
were gone.
I
And then
put
you
a
got
new
the
transmission in
Ranchero.
it, but then I did something wrong and ruined it, and so I got rid of it. I had the Ranchero for a long time.
Yep.
Yeah.
Sold it. All right,
All
that's our
That's
car
car talk.
segment.
All right, should we do some nerdiculture?
Let's do it.
Yeah.
So I have a theory.
Oh boy.
So you know how I'm the tallest in
Okay.
our family?
Yes.
My theory is that I probably also drank the most milk out of all of us,
Yeah.
and that
Mm.
that may be why I'm a little taller.
I think it's because he didn't do lots of sports.
You think that stunts your growth?
It
To do
can,
sports?
especially if you have inflammation of your joints. That can definitely damage growth plates.
So I
I
found
should be 6'3".
there's been a couple studies done actually that show a correlation between
The growth
cow
hormone?
milk consumption and child height. And it doesn't. You might think, oh well, they must put growth hormone in the milk.
That's what I
Well,
just said.
this goes back
Jokingly, but
histor-
growth hormone?
historically.
Well, and most milk now says it doesn't come from cows that have taken growth hormones.
Right, but there's the natural protein called, I have it here,
Mucrose.
insulin-like growth factor,
Okay.
which is a natural protein in cow milk.
That's what makes it
No, no, you
delicious.
mean-
Anyway, there was a study done in Canada where they took like 5,000 kids and tracked
That's
them
like a
over
tenth
like
of the population.
and tracked them over like 8 years. And
Well, they're
Did they
farther
ever
north.
find
There's,
them?
there's less gravity up there, so
and they tracked their height and how much
Weight.
cow milk they drank. And some of them drank
Cow.
like almond milk or rice
how does it
milk.
correlate
or
to
something.
speaking
gross.
French?
That has no correlation to the French speaking.
Maybe the other types of milk just make you shorter.
that could
Like
be
goat milk?
that could be a a byproduct of this, what they came up with it too. But there was another study that showed that regions of the world that have high cow milk consumption contain generally taller inhabitants.
Maybe you crave milk when you're growing.
Correlation is cycle causation.
Okay, so
Maybe I have mad cow
historically,
disease.
um,
My brain's heavier. That's why I'm shorter.
yeah, it's more full of lead.
Mad cow disease. is
So
rampant.
historically, when a group of people start domesticating cows or sheep or camels, in some instances, shortly afterwards, a genetic mutation shows
That's
up.
fun.
There's a genetic mutation that causes them to be able to
Breathe underwater.
digest milk when they're an adult.
Okay.
Because the people that don't have this gene can tolerate lactose as
As
a young
kids,
child, but
yeah.
then when they get older, they lactose
Oh,
intolerant.
interesting.
And
So
so,
people's lactose
this-
intolerance could be genetically from their hereditary.
it's actually
markers.
being tolerant to lactose as a mutation. And usually, when a population starts getting this mutation, it provides a short-term advantage over other people that don't have this mutation, because they're able to get more protein. And I read, so you get 5 times as much protein milking a cow than you do raising it for beef out of the
Wow.
same
I didn't realize you
amount
got
of
any
land.
protein while you're milking it.
The milk has protein in it.
Oh, the milk from milk.
So a piece of ground, if it's used for raising cows that give milk, you get 5 times as much protein as if it's used for cows giving meat. So
That's interesting.
and so one of the interesting things is when this happened in Europe about 6,000 years ago,
I remember those days.
this group of people were able to basically, became the dominant people in Europe, and they were the ones that had the Indo-European language, which is
And-
where most of European languages come from.
And they had all those milk mustaches.
Yes, and the milk mustaches. There's also been archaeological evidence that showing that people that were able to drink milk were taller than their
Oh.
neighbors.
I remember when I mutated to be able to drink milk.
My favorite kind of archaeology is about ancient arches.
So when these
Archaeology.
Indo-European people moved into the Balkans, they brought their own burial customs.
Oh,
And so they've been able to go and dig up the different people that were native to the Balkans and the incoming Indo-Europeans. And those ones were on average 4 inches taller than the native people.
wow.
I hope people don't dig me up later in life or in the future just to.
And so scientists think that,
Just to measure you.
Yeah.
scientists hypothesize
If I just
that
put my height on the outside on the tombstone.
that would save a lot of time.
Yeah.
But scientists hypothesize that milk proteins like, what I mentioned, the insulin-like growth factor
Mm-hmm.
in cow milk promotes growth in bones and other body tissues. And that's why you might get a little bit taller
Oh,
if you drink more
Sweet,
milk.
delicious body tissues.
So another anecdotal evidence is out of my 2 daughters, the younger one is already taller than the oldest one, and the oldest one stopped growing. So, but
We saw to that.
yeah, the older one we hardly ever gave milk to when she was a baby
Oh,
and growing up. But the younger one was so petite that our pediatrician told us you should give her milk. And so even though we didn't give the other 2 kids as much milk, we gave her a ton of
Because you were
milk.
hogging it all.
Well, I know I do drink.
we
a lot
were
of milk.
always out.
But yeah, so she's now the other problem though is it can lead to some cancers when you're older, that much consumption of milk. So it was nice knowing you guys.
Milkemia.
Leukemia.
So what do you guys think?
My kids are all going to be taller than me.
Did you drink milk as
My-
a child?
Yes.
My youngest
Oh,
child
okay.
just passed my wife in height.
But like my kids,
I think my son Peyton just eats more in general
That
than
could
the
be.
other one, the older one.
they're way taller than I was at their ages.
My youngest is going to be probably as tall, if not taller than, and he's actually had joint problems with inflammation.
Mm.
His last year of football, he missed some football stuff because he was in a lot of pain with his, and that's when I found out that he's like, yeah, there's studies that show that people that participate in more sports and get inflammation in their joints, it can actually affect their height. And
I've
like,
heard,
oh,
like
okay.
Good thing my kids are lazy.
I've heard like weightlifting at too young of an age can stunt your growth.
Yeah, I think just general physical activity, if it goes to the point where he's got my joints, I guess, because I had like tendonitis in my ankles when I played soccer as a kid,
Yeah.
which is why I always wore high tops, because the doctor told me laced up high tops would be the best thing to help you. Although I don't have any now. I'm wearing,
You don't play much soccer now, do
I
you?
don't.
And drink
But I
your
still have
milk.
issues with my ankles occasionally.
So there's a lot of that has to do with genes on how tall you end up being.
That's why
But
I
there's
wear
also
slacks.
but there is a a diet factor too on what you eat and how much you eat.
I think there's anything, there's a bunch of different
Yeah.
factors.
variables.
But I
But
thought it was
yeah, I think that's
interesting.
definitely one of them, I would think.
Thought it was interesting there were a couple of studies that they did
Yeah.
to study that.
That is interesting.
And it got me thinking, you know what?
Oh,
I
boy.
drink a lot of milk and I'm tall-ish.
There's a comedian that is 6'7", and he has a song making fun of a short person
Oh yeah.
because he always
Everyone's
constantly
shorter than
and turns out in this song you get towards the end and it's the guy that's 6'1".
Oh, like John Stockton.
Yeah,
That really
he looks
short
really
basketball
short.
player.
Yeah, no, he looks tiny. It's funny.
I'm the shortest one in our family.
Yeah,
I
that's why I was wondering if you
know
didn't
that-
drink much milk.
No, I did drink milk.
That's why his hair's white.
That's
It
one of
all
the
went
things.
to my hair.
That's one of the things I wanted to know when I came here is how much milk did St. Jimmy drink?
I like to drink it with certain things. Like it goes good with like French toast or pancakes
Oh, yeah.
or chocolate chip cookies.
It pairs
I
well
even
with
like it
certain
with
foods.
I
pizza.
think it pairs well with lasagna too,
Mm.
which is similar to
And
pizza.
Salisbury steak.
I don't think I have a steak.
It goes with everything. I drink a lot of milk.
And
I like
ice
strawberry
cream.
milk.
Oh yes,
Strawberry milk is the
I
greatest.
keep a bottle
Uh,
of strawberry syrup in my fridge.
Oh, we have the
Syrup.
powder.
Yeah, I
Oh.
like powder.
I like the syrup because they just squirt it in, stir it real quick, and it's good to go.
What's we do with the powder? So we scoop it in.
I usually end up with powder in the bottom of the milk.
That's why you swirl the cup as you go.
Yeah, see, with syrup
There's
you
a-
don't have to swirl.
So we
Oh.
discovered if you put it in like the Ninja blender, the strawberry milk, it turns it almost to a strawberry milkshake.
Whoa.
It thickens it. and,
Oh.
like froths it.
I like to add the syrup to
And churn
vanilla
it.
ice cream and then stir it up
It's
till
basically,
it
yeah,
has the
churning it.
consistency of like a frosty,
Oh, yeah.
and then eat like a strawberry frosty.
Let's just quit the show and go get ice cream.
And that's nerdiculture.
Thanks. No, I'm hungry.
Ice cream is a dairy product.
Yes, it is.
So there.
My wife can't participate in it anymore.
Oh,
Oh,
she's not a mutant.
Nope. Apparently,
mutation.
I'm
Whatever-
a double mutant because I have
whatever
blue eyes
Norse
too.
country she came from originally.
Kooky.
I think the Norse drink milk. In fact, that was one of the things in the study was people
They're
from
tall. It's
North
because they're farther north. I'm telling you.
Norseway.
Sway, Northern Europe seem to be taller.
I just thought of another nerd cred thing.
Oh, good. I didn't have one, so
It's
you can.
all, it's all D and D and
He's got a paragraph for his nerd cred.
it's all kind of interrelated.
Okay, well, we got
It's
a
your
couple
fault.
more segments
I know
to get through before
that was
we get
called
that far.
foreshadowing.
Okay,
Uh,
just like
about
just like the giraffe is foreshadowing my tallness topic.
which we didn't
can't-
even know
I
about.
can remember that joke today at work. I'm gonna draw a comic of it.
What show?
Jurassic Park.
Jurassic
Oh.
Park.
All right. Anyway, St. Jimmy, take it away.
All right. So I read this book. Oh, it's probably
What?
like
You can read?
15 years ago almost. And it was about how on Mars you could take carbon dioxide out of the air and combine it with hydrogen and make methane for rocket
cows.
fuel.
Oh,
So you could
replace the cow emissions.
you could have rocket fuel made from the
And
Martian
drink methane
atmosphere.
milk.
It was called Mars Direct or something. It was
It's
about
called methane.
how people could go to Mars. But we have carbon dioxide in our atmosphere too.
What?
Yeah, it's what
And a lot of people are
Plants
really
eat.
worried about the amount that is being put in the atmosphere every year.
even though
I'm sure the
Earth's
trees
greening.
love it.
Yeah, the Earth is greening actually.
Yeah.
It's-
So right
happens.
now we put an extra where is
You
it?
need that to feed all the people.
4 or
It's kind
5
of
gallons
it
of
helps itself
CO2
out.
into the air.
To feed people, you need more plants, and plants eat what the people put out.
And then the plants eat people.
Yeah, if you're from that book, what was it called again?
Which book?
Not
Oh,
the genetically engineered houses.
Oh,
I
it
don't
may have been
remember.
the other article. It's like 150 gigatons or something of extra CO2.
Extra.
Yeah, be what
naturally.
so that's
Occurs.
CO2 coming from like
Um,
taking oil out of the ground and burning it and stuff like that. Because that CO2 wouldn't have been there otherwise.
unless there's an eruption.
Yeah, because there's lots of volcanoes that erupt with crude oil.
No, but there's other carbon in there. Trust me.
Just in Texas.
Yeah, but that carbon isn't counted. I mean, that carbon would be
That
there
would-
anyway, so
that
that's
would be
not
the
in the
natural
carbon.
extra.
We're natural to the planet, so it's fine.
So they have been working for a while to figure out ways to reduce the amount of extra carbon dioxide that's going in the air. But
I think your flatulence is counted in the natural.
these guys
But cows aren't.
are going a step further from reducing and actually capturing CO2 out of the air.
With trees.
Well, that's one good way to do it. But
Giant CO2 mitts.
these guys took off the shelf components, put them together the right way, and they're actually mechanically taking carbon dioxide out of the air. So they basically have this either pellets or this liquid that when it gets in contact with the air, it grabs CO2 out of the air. And then they can either pump it into a pressurized tank, or this other company that's doing something similar is actually creating hydrogen with solar power and taking the captured CO2 and making methane out of it. And then they can use that for fuel. So they have methane powered trucks that they can run off this methane that they've generated out of sunlight and air. And then they recently delivered 4,000 gallons of fuel for jets for like
Black
Virgin
gold.
Air is using it. That was made out of carbon dioxide taken out of the air. So even though when they burn it, it puts carbon dioxide back into the air, it's carbon neutral because they took the
They
carbon
took it out of the air in the first
out
place.
of the air in the first place. Yeah.
And they're introducing new types of technology to the world market.
Yeah, so these technologies could be used on Mars missions and stuff like that. So if you wanted to go to Mars and then come home, you wouldn't have to bring the return fuel with you.
But you
could
still have to go through customs.
Right.
Yes. You could go to Mars and then
It's a great idea. We can send half the TSA agents ahead of us to Mars.
who's gonna oh anyway, so
Oh crap! We should have sent it like something to set up housing for them there.
so what you do is you send a plant ahead,
We didn't provide
an
enough fuel to slow down. We got
unmanned
Oh, no.
factory to Mars that goes and makes all the methane that you need, and then it tells you, hey, your return fuel's ready. Then you go
And then you can come back.
Great.
and
More
yeah.
robots taking people's jobs.
We got somebody
I
commenting on
actually
YouTube.
would rather argue.
Hey,
Harrison Live 05.
I'd
nice.
actually rather argue with robots than humans. I found out because we were talking about checkout lines, and somebody was telling me that this one store, their checkers are told to comment on at least one thing out of something they're checking, and I'm like,
Gross.
that sounds horrible. I hate it
let's
when
just go buy condoms.
I'm like, I hate it when people that are checking my groceries say anything about my groceries because I feel like they're judging me. And I'm like, I guess I could just
Condoms and
go to
stable
the.
rumors.
I guess I just have to go to the self
We
checkout
need
and
to
argue
do-
with the computer.
We should
there.
do comedy checkout things that you like.
Figure out what
this is
store
gonna
that
get it.
is, and then see what they come up with.
So Harrison
Ah.
is asking, aren't we tired? It's actually only 9:15 here. So
No, I
So
actually,
no.
I don't work tomorrow, so I'm gonna go play disc golf at 7:30. So I get to sleep in an hour and a half.
Oh.
So which means I can stay up an hour and a half later.
So I got, actually, this is the best way to do things. Somebody was looking for help on Saturday morning for somebody that had a pickup because they needed to haul some
That's why you're
pellets
always working
for,
on Saturday.
for their pellet stove. And it's this older woman at church. And so I volunteered. Well, then later that day, she came back and said, oh, well, I don't need you anymore. It's like, sweet. Now I get the credit for volunteering. And I didn't have to do
any work.
anything. And I
Hmm.
can sleep in for.
I
I've
wish I
been
could sleep in.
working a lot of Saturdays, so it'll be nice to have one off.
What were we talking about?
I don't know.
About being tired.
Being tired.
Oh,
No, I'm bipedal. Thanks for noticing, though.
we were talking about Mars missions.
Oh, that's right,
Mars.
Mars.
The Mars. And that's Technerdy.
Excellent. So I want to talk about a local animal attack.
Local to
local-
us.
There was a German tourist
thought
visiting
you
one
were
of our
talking-
Zimbabwean parks.
I thought you were going to say German Shepherd.
No, she's a woman.
Maybe
I
they
believe.
think we're actually in Zimbabwe.
Oh,
She got out of the vehicle to take a picture of an elephant and got trampled to death.
I've seen some
Oh.
of those videos of people being attacked by animals on African safaris. I've seen lions open car doors.
whoa.
So you got to
So
be
they're
careful.
smart. And elephants can open it because they have a trunk.
Yeah.
And the car has a trunk.
Right. So get in the trunk. They'll confuse the elephant.
Because they have a
That's
trunk.
why you should always dress as a
Because
mouse.
their trunk is on the front.
Always dress as a mouse when you're on safari.
Oh, go ahead.
Oh, I was going to move on to the next story.
Okay.
Unless
Well,
you guys have a funny comment about this
no,
one.
but Harrison has a question.
Oh, what's up?
Will Elon Musk create underground speed tunnels soon?
He's working on it.
If he
currently.
gets off Twitter.
You can do that at the same time.
Oh,
The dude doesn't sleep.
Oh, maybe he's
I saw
tired.
if you watch the Joe Rogan interview with him, the long form,
Mhm.
I'm more convinced now than ever that he is an alien
oh.
introduced to our planet just to come and help us out.
Hmm.
And he didn't deny it very vehemently.
No, I'm totally not an alien.
He thought he was insane when he was a child because he realized really early that he thought differently than other people.
Oh.
He thought if people knew that they would. Bill Cosby, he is already in prison.
Should Bill Cosby be in prison?
Yes, but he
is,
should
and
have
I
to repay restitution
think he
by putting on shows.
in prison?
Yeah,
Oh, prison shows?
prison shows.
Oh, could the prison like let people come in to watch so they could make the ticket?
Yeah,
Okay.
they should be able to do that.
Harrison wants to know should he be there though?
He's found guilty, so yeah.
I think so. I think there's enough
I don't know.
evidence.
That's too political for me
Yeah.
to
He's too
think about.
He's too
I
funny.
didn't see the evidence, but
Yeah,
if
he
he did
was-
what he was convicted of, then definitely.
He was convicted, so therefore, I guess.
All right, what's your other news story?
Oh, so there was a big fight between Waymo and what's the other one? Hold on, let me get to my. Oh, here we go. You can just bring it up there.
Let's see.
There was a patent fight,
Oh boy.
and Waymo eventually won. But then recently, an engineer that had nothing to do with either company, just some random engineer, took a look at some of their stuff and noticed that they had ground and power going to the same place. And so he had questions. So he looked really closely at it and thought, this looks really simple to have a patent. So he challenged the patent with his own $6,000 and got 6 of their patents thrown out.
Wow.
It's for a LiDAR system that goes on a self-driving car.
Hmm.
It was Uber that they had it out with. And Uber had paid $245 million settlement to Waymo because of patent violations. And this guy basically got,
Found out that you can't actually patent that.
his name's Eric Swildens, and it's engineers like this that are awesome. It almost sounds like Waymo is one of those patent trolled type people, maybe.
Mm.
I don't know if someone
Well, they are developing technology for self-driving cars.
right, but it
But-
sounds like they were a subsidiary of another company that a lot of their stuff looks eerily similar to this other company that they had this nasty break from. So
Interesting.
watch out for engineers. We're always looking at your stuff and we think it's wrong. I remember our
that's
firm
funny.
got hired once to actually check another engineer's drawings or something. Something went wrong and there was a lawsuit and we were asked to weigh in. And that's the news.
Oh, I think I still have some consumption lingering.
You have a big paragraph of consumption.
No, I have 3 items on there, which I'm going to recite
So-
from memory. Oh,
Just before, Harrison wants to know if we even know what he was found guilty of.
I
wasn't
think
he
it was
putting drugs in pudding or something?
no, he was inviting young actresses to his room, is what I heard, and then drugging them. Sometimes without their knowledge, and then having his way with them, I guess.
So what he was actually convicted of was aggravated indecent assault, and I don't know what the definition of that
I don't
is,
either. What
but,
what kind of sentence did he get?
Well, isn't he like 80?
Yeah, he's really old.
3 to 10 years? Something
No,
like that?
that's not that much. So it must not have been a rape because rape would have been more than that. Fascinating.
Hopefully. All right.
All right, so I finally watched the movie Signs.
You hadn't seen it?
I think I'd seen.
Did you
parts
get it
of
on disc? Because I own
No.
that movie.
No, I watched it on Hulu.
Okay.
It was interesting. It seemed like it was more about the main character's
Family.
No.
what was a good way to put it?
His baseball skills.
His losing his faith because he was like
Yeah.
a minister or something, and then his
Yeah.
wife got killed, and so it seemed like it had a lot to do with like, him looking for signs like in a spiritual sense.
Oh.
But
Yeah.
it was
I
entertaining
haven't
enough.
seen it for a while. Swing away.
I saw it recently.
So the
I saw the sign and then I opened up my eyes.
so the actors
What was your favorite part?
the actor that played the young boy
Yeah.
looked really familiar to me.
Because he's like 40 now.
No.
Oh.
Signs wasn't that long ago. It came out like what, 2002
or something.
Is that new? Oh.
Yeah.
15 years ago.
Anyway, it's Macaulay Culkin's younger brother.
Yeah.
Oh. He doesn't
So,
look very good
He
anymore.
does kind of look like Macaulay Culkin.
So what was your favorite part?
favorite part?
My favorite part was when
He sounded
The-
like he had
well,
one.
there's two
Oh.
favorite parts.
Okay.
I like when they're showing the South American video of the kid's birthday party.
Oh yeah.
You just see one in the background. That's really creepy. And also when the hand comes out from underneath the door.
Oh yeah. The
Yeah.
pantry.
The
so
best
good.
part is when they're in the car and Joaquin Phoenix is explaining just a bunch of guys
Which is weird because
they-
it should be called Driving Phoenix.
that
So that's
can't get girlfriends or have these secret codes, and then the little girl goes, "Why can't they get girlfriends?"
Yeah, I remember that part. There was some good suspense parts, like the pantry door,
Yeah.
where
So-
he's like trying to pretend like he's a policeman, but he's like
Right.
sounds like an idiot.
Yeah, that was funny. I like when he like says something like about the paddy wagon, then you see him like grimace, like, "Oh, that was stupid. Why did I say that?"
Oh, I saw an interview. In fact, it's one of mine. But an interview with M. Night Shyamalan. He said he used to get in trouble as a kid for scaring his cousins. Like they played with Ouija boards or whatever,
Mhm.
and he would force it over to, "Are you here?" Yes. And he's like, then he'd ask a question. "Are you here to hurt one of us?" And then reach over and point at one of the cousins. It's like, "Do you want to kill that person?" And it goes over to yes. So he's been scaring people for a
So
while.
I guess I was on a Shyamalan kick because then I watched Untouchable.
Oh,
or
I love that-
Unbreakable.
I love that movie.
Unbreakable.
Yeah.
They're coming out with a sequel called Mr. Glass.
Wasn't
Oh.
the Split a sequel? Considered a sequel?
Oh, maybe. Another
And
thing
then-
he said was the reason why he had kind of a dip in his career
Mhm.
as a producer, and he thinks that it's associated with him having small children
Oh.
because then he wanted to make shows for them.
Mm.
So he started
So
delving
he
more
made
into
the
children.
happening.
So he made like Last
Lady in the
Airbender.
water. Oh,
Oh, okay.
Last Airbender's good.
The movie?
Yeah.
Maybe if you hadn't seen the cartoon, I couldn't get past him mispronouncing
Oh,
all
that
the names.
was annoying.
And they're going
Why
to make
would you do that?
there's rumors of them coming out with a new live action movie of that's done by the creators of the original cartoon.
Oh, that would
Oh.
be good. I'd
Yeah.
watch that.
And then I actually also did watch Untouchables. That's the Sean Connery, Kevin Costner movie
Oh.
from '87. Oh, it's got Robert De Niro in it as Al Capone.
Oh yeah,
You
I've seen that.
guys remember that movie?
Yeah.
I don't know.
It's a lot slower than I remember it being.
A lot of older movies are really slow.
Yeah. Like there's a scene at the train station with a baby carriage involved. And that scene took forever.
I watched The
remember it-
Godfather, and that movie took forever.
Oh, I bet.
Had to do it while Minecrafting.
Yeah. So, yeah, it was pretty good. You got Kevin Costner and his group of untouchables going after Al Capone, and
Elliot Ness.
yeah, Elliot Ness is the character he plays.
Yep.
So the reason I remembered this movie is I was watching Supernatural, season 7, episode 20. No, I'm just kidding. It's that later half of the season, but
4-minute 30-second mark.
one of the characters gets sent back in time to the 30s or 40s or something, and ends up working with Elliot Ness, who's become a monster hunter.
How do I not remember this one?
And it was in season 7.
Oh, that's like 6 seasons ago. That's why.
But yeah, he mentioned the Untouchables and quoted several lines from it in the TV show. So I'm like, oh, I want to see that. So I went real quick on my DVD Netflix and put that as the next movie, and it came like 2 days later. So then I watched it.
Nice.
So, but I remember
I own that
seeing
one.
it.
No, I'm just
as- I remember seeing it as like a 12, 13-year-old and thinking it was really awesome.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
watching it again, I was like,
was
yeah,
there
I
a
could,
courthouse scene with the gunplay? The courthouse. I don't. Maybe I'm thinking of something else.
There was a courthouse scene.
That was my blue heaven.
There
Oh,
was
yeah.
a guy that got walked out of the courtroom because he had a gun on him.
Oh, maybe that's what it was.
But
I don't know. It's been a while.
there's also a scene with horses and a bridge across the Canadian-U.S. border where there's a shipment of alcohol coming across, and Elliot Ness and the Untouchables ride out to stop him. I remembered that from when I was a kid. So.
Cool.
Doesn't sound
And
familiar
then
at all.
Sean Connery's death scene, that was memorable. Spoilers.
I thought he was still alive.
Well, his character Malone.
He's died in a lot of movies.
Anyway, that's what I watched.
Cool.
You
forgot
have
one.
another one on there.
I do?
Yes, you do.
Oh!
What I was actually curious about, just no spoilers. I haven't seen it. I wanna
Okay.
see it.
So
It's
this
based
is a
off the
video
Nintendo
game. This is a video game I played called Rampage.
It's not.
Oh, you
the
didn't watch
movie.
the movie?
I did watch the movie a few months ago,
Oh, okay.
but my wife and I spent the night at Nestor Ed's house because we went to the
Oh, and
concert
he's
down
got-
in his town,
He's got a Nintendo.
and they've got an original NES, like the original.
Yeah.
And he's got Rampage, so my wife and I spent a few hours and beat it. Saturday
You beat
morning.
it?
Yes.
I don't think I ever could spend long enough. It was fun for a little bit, but I
It gets
got bored.
redundant.
Well, you go and destroy major cities throughout the U.S. and Canada, and then when you have them all destroyed, you win. So yeah, we beat the game Rampage.
Cool.
Nice. So I watched a film called Bandits.
It's a film, huh?
I'm trying to think.
Is it Time Bandits?
Well, let me take a drink of my Mountain Dew here.
Oh, this was the one. It was Bruce Willis and what is his name?
Is it one of the Bruce Willis ones where his name's all over it, but then he's barely in it?
No, he was the main character
Okay.
in this.
I've been duped by a couple of those. Okay.
So Bruce Willis,
2001.
Billy Bob Thornton, and Kate Blanchett.
I remember this one. I remember
So-
seeing it in the theater.
I don't.
I think it was filmed
Bruce
in
Willis
Portland, Oregon.
and Billy Bob Thornton break out of prison and start robbing banks, but they call them the sleepover robbers because they go to the bank manager's house the night before and hold them hostage at home, and then just go to the bank with them in the morning and are waiting for all the employees to show up before the bank opens, and they rob it before they open. But then they end up having Kate Blanchett tag along with them. And at first I was like, I thought it wasn't going to be very good until she showed up, and it changed the whole dynamic. And I was like, oh, this is really good. I really liked it. So
They filmed this while I lived there. I remember them talking about it on the news and stuff about a Bruce Willis movie being filmed.
yeah,
I saw
it takes place in Oregon. And staying on that theme, I also watched Smokey and the Bandit.
This is a bandit thing.
I think I actually watched this one first, but
With Burt Reynolds and
Do you
what's her
play
name?
Crash Bandicoot too?
not recently. But
Do you go see a concert of your favorite bandit?
Burt Reynolds is the bandit, and Smokey is what they call cops.
Mhm.
And basically, he takes a bet that he can drive from like Alabama to Texas, pick up a load of beer, and get it back
A lot of his movies involve driving across state lines.
within a certain number of hours, which has never been done. And
It's
like,
illegal.
yeah, it's illegal because that certain type of beer it was Coors Light or something. But if they said like transporting it east of Texas is considered bootlegging or something.
Yeah.
I don't think you're allowed. Yeah, I don't think you're supposed to transport alcohol across state lines.
Well, it was just that they said
So-
it's illegal east of Texas, and so they couldn't get it in Alabama.
That's weird.
And so what he does is he has a guy driving the truck, and he's in a fast car going ahead to pick up any cops.
Mhm.
And then the cops chase him, and he outdrives them and gets away. And then the truck can just speed through, and then he meets back up with the truck, and they go on their way. But he ends up picking up a girl on the way, and this cop from Texas chases them the whole way, and he's alerting the police in the localities So everywhere they're going, they're getting more and more police attention. And the police never know about the truck, though. They're all just looking for this guy and gal in this Camaro. And so he outdrives all the cops. It's very funny, and
I enjoyed it when I saw it.
yeah,
I should watch it again. I haven't seen
it's
that
on
in, like,
Amazon
forever.
Prime.
Oh,
I would
okay.
watch it. It's very funny.
Yeah, his interaction with the cop is pretty good.
I
Yeah.
like him a lot.
Yeah, it's a lot of funny characters and situations and fun police chases and stuff. So I've watched Ready Player One. I bought it on Amazon.
Just your first time watching it?
Yes.
Oh,
Did you read the book first?
I did.
did
I
you read it
the
long
book a
enough
long
ago
time
that
ago.
it like okay, so
Yeah.
it was kind of not as in
Right.
memory, and
Yeah.
that's better.
And I would like to read it again, which I do own it. So
We do too now.
I own it on Kindle.
We own the physical copy.
Oh. Or it's
physical
actually
copy.
Google
What's-
Play Books or
I
something.
was
but-
confused about those.
So this is in the somewhat near future, 25 years in the future or
The year
something.
2000, I think. It's a distant future.
That distant future.
And everybody spends most of their time in this virtual reality multiplayer world where you can be anything you want and go to different
Well, I could see that.
places. And basically the world was created by this guy, and when he died, he arranged it so that the person who found this certain Easter egg would inherit the company from him.
Sony should totally do that.
So there's this business that wants to get it so that they can put advertisements and make a bunch of money off of it. And then there's a bunch of
EA, we're looking in your direction.
private citizens that are also trying to find it. And so the clues to get there are all based on this guy's life. And the guy was obsessed with the 1980s. And so if you grew up in the 80s like we did, there's lots of stuff. You're like, oh, he's driving the DeLorean. Oh, he's playing the Atari, and all this stuff. So a lot of nostalgia, but like my kids loved it too. So there's lots of fun stuff. And yeah, most of it takes place in the
Music was
VR
good.
world, but there is quite a bit of live action stuff. All the VR stuff is CG.
I think we talked about the multi-directional treadmill that they were
Oh
using.
yeah,
Mhm.
yeah,
There's that company that's making one.
yeah. That's cool. And so the main character is this guy who lives with his aunt, and they're poor. They live in like this trailer house that's in this stack of trailer houses in this area that's full of trailer house stacks. And he has like this crappy rig and everything, but he solves the first puzzle. And so he gets like all this money deposited in his account. So then all of a sudden he has this nice stuff. And he's not in a official group, but he has all these friends in the VR world. And so they all work together to solve the puzzles and beat the bad guys. So there's some epic battles and fun stuff.
Nostalgia.
Lots of nostalgia.
Game Adventure. I remember that game.
Yeah.
Some of my favorite Atari games.
It's a good one.
Yeah. Simon Pegg's in it too a little bit. So it's pretty good.
Oh, okay. For some reason I was thinking Simon, the guy that does the voice and those. Like where?
I got Jurassic World Fallen Kingdom. So this is the
Ooh.
one where they have to go back to the island to save the dinosaurs, and you think it's going to be just like the Lost World, but then it turns out not to be anything like it after the first part.
The
I liked
scene
it.
in the trailer with Chris Pratt and the T-Rex and the gal is pretty funny.
Yeah, so the island from Jurassic World, there's a volcano on it that's erupting. So if
And it spews oil. No, just kidding.
Jurassic World hadn't
I was
happened,
trying to make new oil with the
happened.
dinosaurs.
Yeah.
Except there's talk that might.
So,
not be what oil is.
Chris Pratt and Bryce Dallas Howard get funded to go to the island with this group to save as many
Is that the
dinosaurs.
dinosaur's name?
No, that's the blonde
Oh.
or the redhead chick from the
Was
first.
she
Chris
red
Pratt
or
could eat no
blonde?
fat.
She's
His wife could
redhead.
eat no lean. Oh wait, that's a different.
Olean.
But they go and try to save as many dinosaurs, but then they, antics ensue from there.
Right.
And yeah, you really don't know
Who to root for?
what's well, you do, but you don't the twists and turns, and you never at any point till near the end realize exactly what's going to happen. So it was good.
I liked it.
I watched a movie called The Hurricane Heist.
Why? How do you steal a hurricane?
This is on Netflix, and I thought it was going to be like kind of light-hearted heist movie where you're kind of on the side of the criminals, like they're trying to,
This one made you identify with the hurricane, didn't it?
It was totally different. It was,
It's because you spent too much time watching the Bandit ones.
yeah. What was that movie with Channing Tatum where they're robbing the race?
Yeah,
park?
Joe.
Oh, I know what you're talking about. It's
Jupiter Ascending.
no,
The sequel.
the Full
to that.
Monty. No,
Anyways, I thought it was going to be like that, but it turned out to be totally serious.
You're talking about the
on the side of the good
that
guys. And this has
I'm having a Frank Oz moment. I'm Frank Ozing all over the place.
I know the movie you're talking about. I think
Yes, it's very good.
because it has the Adam Driver in it too, right? The one where
okay. So the main characters in the Hurricane Heist are Maggie Grace and
Oh, is that the girl from Lost?
yes,
oh yeah,
Toby Kebbell and Ryan Quanten. And
Oh, that's heard he makes a good hut.
so what
Quanten
happens
hut.
is there's this facility
quite a
down
leap you took
in
there. I know, it was-
It was pretty bad.
there's this facility in this small town down in like Mississippi or Alabama or something.
Mobile,
That-
Alabama.
They
Mississippi.
bring
Mississippi.
they bring money to have it destroyed because it's like
Oh,
the
it's
money
bad.
destroyed
and they shred it there, but their shredder goes down,
and creates a hurricane.
so they have this big backlog of money, and then this hurricane hits, and these criminals use that opportunity to rob it.
Logan Lucky.
Yeah, there you
Logan
go.
Lucky, that was the one. So this was, and it wasn't. The whole movie didn't take place in the facility. They actually get out in the hurricane, and then there's this exciting chase at the end. It's pretty good.
It hits him like a
So-
hurricane.
That reminded me of a news story I didn't do, but there was a family that had lost track of an envelope that had like thousands of dollars in it
Oh,
As you do,
because their son was paying them back for season tickets for something.
and you put it through a shredder.
Their toddler
oh no!
shredded $6,000, I think.
Wow.
Keep it back together.
Oops.
I think I saw that headline.
Oh man,
Makes me fun laugh.
I rewatched Doctor Who season 3. That's the one with his companion is the
So where
med
Billy Bob Thornton is the
student.
doctor?
No, it's
Oh,
still the guy from Harry
David
Potter.
Tennant
Oh, okay.
and what's her name?
The
Martha.
Martha Jones.
Is that the redhead lady?
No, she's the.
You remember the one at the hospital and on the
moon.
Yeah. The doctor lady?
Yeah,
Mhm.
Oh, okay.
That-
Oh, okay.
she's played by Freema Agyeman.
She's not
Then
bad.
she goes on to work for Unit after that, after the season, I think.
So there's quite a bit of it that has Captain Jack also. I guess it's just the last few episodes, maybe. But-
John Barrowman.
Yeah, it was good. I'm starting season 4 again now,
Cool.
so that one I think has more Donna in it.
Mm.
Maybe
Was Donna
Donna's the redhead
Redhead.
with the.
the lady who got interrupted? Her wedding got
Yeah.
interrupted? Yeah, I don't like
My
her
wife
that
and
much.
I finished Matt Smith's Doctor
Oh,
recently, so
that's it. I got to where he ended, and then I stopped watching it, and now I'm rewatching it.
oh okay.
And then I'm going to watch the new ones that I haven't seen.
With angry eyebrow guy.
And we watched a movie we didn't even know existed, Scream 4.
Oh, I have that on DVD. No, just kidding.
It's on Netflix.
Oh,
So it
Oh,
has
the other ones?
I don't know,
I
but
didn't even know there
we
was a
watched
Scream 3.
the first 3 like a couple years ago,
I've never seen those movies.
and we're
either.
like, oh, Scream 4.
The first one's pretty good.
Yeah,
does it have?
I think they're all pretty good.
Courtney
got
Cox
Courtney
in
Cox
it.
Yeah,
in it,
Courtney
and
Cox.
I've heard that.
Her husband's in it, and then
The guy that
Nev Campbell's
was
in
the
all of
vampire
them.
from Buffy the Vampire Slayer when what's his name's best friend
movie?
becomes a vampire.
It's been so long since I've seen the movie.
Isn't that David Arquette?
I don't know.
Where he's like, "Let me in, man," and he's like floating. He's like, "We're on the second floor." And he's standing outside the window.
Oh, yeah, I don't remember that.
Anyways, basically, Nev Campbell's character is back in her hometown doing a book tour about surviving the murders from the original movie, and the murders start up again.
As they do.
So it's basically another. The thing about the Scream movies is they're all kind of meta because the characters in there are comparing the murders to how
Steve Arquette.
slasher movies do it.
Uh-huh.
And so this one, they kept relating the murders to a remake of a slasher movie. And so they're like, well, in the original, there was a murder at a party, but in the remake, the party murders wouldn't be at the end of the movie. So the party murder happens in the middle of the movie.
That's one of the things I like about Supernatural is how meta they are sometimes. Like,
Yeah.
I just finished watching season 7, and one of the characters is like, "We'll see you next season." It's just like
We got into the one where they actually get transported into their TV show
Yes.
or their actors.
yes, that's pretty good. Anyway,
Is it
So
like
good.
that episode of Stargate SG-1 where there's a TV show about them?
There's one where there's like
kinda
a
like that,
book
but
about
it-
them. There's like a
it was
play
funnier.
being put on at an all-girls school or something. All the characters are played by women. It's pretty funny. Oh, that's all of them.
yeah. What's yours?
Yeah.
So on Monday when I wasn't working after I golfed, I watched all of talk show that's on Netflix called Norm. I think it's Norm Macdonald, the comedian's talk show, and he has interesting people on the interviews in very weird interview style.
He's a weird
Does he
guy.
have his dead fish floating behind him like Chevy Chase and his?
No, he did have
Oh.
Chevy Chase on the show.
Oh, did
though.
he?
Yeah. And they were Norm and his sidekick. I can't remember what his name is, but they were talking about their favorite Chevy Chase movies before they brought him out. And I was like, it's got mine's like Three Amigos, I think. And then they both said their favorite was Three Amigos, just because the brilliance of having him and Steve Martin and Martin Short all together.
Yeah.
Is brilliant, which I agree.
Yeah.
So that's really good. Check that out. He had Judge Judy on, which is very interesting.
Weird.
He asked her about OJ and how long of a sentence he got for stealing his old memorabilia back at gunpoint.
Oh yeah.
And she's like, well, sometimes a judge might mete out justice. It just might not be during the original trial.
Yeah, I've heard that they
They gave him the
gave him a
maximum
harsher sentence
since
because he.
It's talking about the Harrison brought up the Bill Cosby thing.
Yeah.
I did see something where OJ was saying something about Bill Cosby in prison and that it's not going to be pleasant for him or something like that.
well, except for he's old, and I don't think he's going to be in general population.
He currently isn't, so it'll.
Well, I think he was saying something about people that do crimes similar to Bill Cosby's
right.
are not treated well by other
Oh,
inmates.
That's typically true.
So keep it in your pants, man. Anyway,
Yep. So that's good. Check that out. And then I watched the second season of Norseman, which is like a spoof of like the Vikings.
oh, it's a spoof.
yes.
Oh.
Oh,
It's very funny. It's good. I like it a lot. There's it's just odd.
where is that at?
Where do you watch this?
It's on Netflix, I think.
Oh, when I saw it in the Netflix list, I was thinking it was
No.
probably just.
I
like
thought it was too the
Vikings.
first time I was watching it, and then they're like watching it, and there's a guy on a boat's like, seriously, can I get some water or something? And it's like one of the captives. Like it's funny.
It's gonna.
One of the main guys in it is that they capture this guy from he's a Roman. He's like a thespian or something, a Roman.
Rome, if you want to.
It's just funny.
Hmm.
The main character's kind of dumb, but you root for him the whole time anyways. And there's funny political stuff happening. It's just good. What's the next? Oh yeah, and my wife she asked me if I'd come sit and watch some TV with her yesterday. So we watched a pilot of a new sitcom called Neighbors, I think, or Neighborhood. But the premise: there's a white family that moves into an all-black neighborhood.
Okay.
And kind of see the reverse of what you might have seen in like it's that Sidney Poitier movie. Guess Who's Coming to Dinner back in the 60s.
Or Alien Nation. Oh,
Right.
aliens. Oh,
And there's a lot of comedy about their last name is Johnson. They're like, oh, the Johnson, because their oldest son like met him first when they first moved the house. And he goes and tells his parents, hey, we just had some new neighbors move in. They're like, oh, cool. What he's like, yeah, the Johnsons. Oh, like, oh, the Johnsons. All right. And they go meet him, they're like, you're the Johnsons? It turns out the young son's name is Grover. He's like the black neighbor's like, Grover Johnson? Like it's very interesting. But it did get a little bit preachy, which could just be because it's the pilot and they're kind of trying to set this is kind of what the topic's going to be. There was talk about because they were being treated kind of badly based on just because they were white by some of the people. And like, that sounds kind of racist. And the black guy's like, no, we can't be racist. We can be racial. But you guys can be racist. We can't be racist. I was like, okay. A lot of the stuff, the dialogue was like, all right, looks like it's pulled straight out of like what's politically correct at the time type language. But it could be interesting. One of the sons of the family, not the one that moves in, is an engineer, and he's very funny in it. He's hilarious.
Well,
So-
somebody has to be.
You might check that out. And then while we were watching that, we're skipping through the commercials, and a promo came on for the new Magnum PI.
oh yeah.
And
I
I-
didn't even know that
I
was a thing.
shortened it on our thing because I don't know if I can watch the movie because the guy they have playing Magnum is not tall.
Oh, so he's short. He didn't
He
drink
didn't
enough.
drink
At one
milk.
At one point, one of his clients walked up. This woman, I don't think she was in heels, but she was taller than him. I was like, no. And he got in the old school.
Does he have a mustache?
Nope, he has a goatee.
That's wrong.
And he got in the same Ferrari that Magnum always made look small.
And it
And-
looks spacious.
It looked huge. And it was way too unrealistic. At the very beginning part, they had this really unrealistic scene, and I was like, what is this? Where he like parachutes out of a satellite, but like the weather balloon.
Weather balloon?
He's in like a spacesuit and he jumps out and like basically from
In
into North
Hawaii.
Korea and is rescuing his family, and they're chasing him in a military vehicle. At some point, he spins the military vehicle around, and the vehicles have been shooting with machine guns. He shoots with his pistol and it blows up. Then it pans to them reading this book
Oh.
that is Robin Masters, who is the always unseen author,
Uh-huh.
had written. And I really wanted to like it. And I was like, oh, okay, so they're just tongue in cheek. This is, how action things are. And this is over the top, this book. But then the end of this episode got just as ridiculous, where he's chasing this big, huge vehicle, and he to run it off the road, he goes past it in the old school Ferrari, flips it around and shooting at it with his pistol. Then has to jump out of the car as the truck's hitting him, driving off a cliff. But he jumps out and grabs the bottom of the helicopter. I was like, what? So they totally lost me at the very end of the show. I thought the guy they had for Rick, I thought that casting was good. I thought the TC casting was good. Oh, and they made Higgins a woman, which in the
obviously.
first episode, there's even some romantic tension almost. You're like, you can't have romantic tension between Magnum PI and Higgins.
That's why you need to be very careful about watching shows that are remakes of shows that you really liked as a child.
Agreed.
Yeah, we call that Knight Rider.
They did have,
syndrome.
Yeah.
they did have the dogs,
It
and they hated Magnum, which was they had the same theme
Good
song.
callback.
I might try it again. This once get a pilot, and shows sometimes take a while to level off. Maybe look at him some platform
You
shoes.
just gotta forget the original ever existed.
which I think is kind of what they were doing with destroying the original Ferrari.
Mm.
Like, oh, see, here's your thing. We're going to destroy it. And there's like symbology. We're destroying what you love.
It's like when they remade the Clash of the Titans and they
The
have the
owl.
little owl, but it's like in a box or something.
Like, what's
Right.
this?
What was the other
You don't
thing
wanna know.
Oh, of course, Higgins. They immediately reveal her backstory of being an MI6 previously.
Hmm.
And so when she gets attacked by these two Marines that are the main bad guys,
Is she stuffy and
beats them up,
proper like the original?
kind
Higgins?
of, but she was like, yeah, not really. But at one point she gets attacked and she beats up these two guys and runs them off and she gets shot. And then later the two guys attack Magnum PI and just totally destroy him. He doesn't even get a punch in. It was like,
Well, episode 2 is out.
"Oh, I know. I don't know if I should watch it. I should. So it's like a hate rant on it, I guess.
Hmm.
Eh,
But I thought it was clever shortening the name on their show notes because the guy's short. He seems like a good actor. He's just short. And he doesn't have a mustache. Come on.
yeah, they should have got someone with a mustache.
Well, he'd probably look silly with a mustache because, you know, seriously, who can pull off the Magnum PI mustache?
Should have got
Someone
Burt-
taller.
Did Burt Reynolds make a cameo?
He's dead.
Oh.
Burt Reynolds could pull
He
off
said-
a mustache.
He said Wicked and Bernie's 4, though. That's all I got.
Okay, let's go on to nerd cred.
All right, day.
You don't have any.
I didn't put anything on there. I don't.
You played a Nintendo game
I did play an old school Nintendo
and
game,
you beat it.
and we beat it. My wife and I beat it together.
It's pretty good.
I
Well-
played the monkey, and she played the
Lizard.
Lizzie.
yes.
Old games are hard to beat
This one
because you
is
run out
not.
of lives.
But
This
I-
one, you if as soon as you start, you lose your life. You just hit the button and you
Yeah.
come back.
Yeah. Yeah. So that you can do that one. But yeah, when I brought the remastered DuckTales home and had my kids try that, they're like, this game's impossible, Dad.
Yeah.
It took me about a week and then I could get back into it. And I was like, I remember my old patterns. My fingers were just doing the same thing.
You remember Battletoads?
Oh, that game was impossible.
We could only get to the third level.
I think I got
the
that
part where
as
you're
a,
falling down the.
Yeah,
Um,
I got
I
that
got to the speed bike part after that
again
where you're
as
jumping
a
over stuff.
I don't think I
teenager,
ever got there.
and I got
I
really
got there.
far in it, but there was this part in it that was impossible.
I think I got the emulator on my computer once and got
Mm.
pretty far into it.
Yeah, there was this part where you're like holding onto this big wheel and you have to go through these pipes and you're being chased by something,
Mhm.
and you have to like hit to make these corners at the exact right time. But I tried it so much and could never.
That
And
was
if you
in,
die, you have to start over.
that
from
was in the
beginning.
hardest one. Remember that one based on the Arnold Schwarzenegger movie we
The
had?
Total Recall.
Total Recall.
Oh,
That game was
You
impossible.
could only get like 10 minutes into it.
It was not even that. You get down the street and then you go in and you go through the little
The X-ray
X-ray
machine.
machine and you're
Yeah.
dead.
Yeah, I don't think we played that one very often because it was so hard.
It was so hard. Anyway,
Um,
there we did nerd cred for you.
All right.
I was listening to a show and they were talking about personality tests you can
Yeah.
do. And I found out I might not be an introvert.
Really?
I
Oh.
might just be shy.
Oh,
Okay.
That's not necessarily the same thing.
You're a shy extrovert.
I'm just introverted around people I'm not familiar with.
Oh. because I've taken those over the years.
Oh, they're
and I actually came up different last time I took
the
it.
show I was listening to was like you could take them a week apart and it could
Be
tell you
different.
you're a totally different personality. It's most of them
They're
are
very
There's a
subjective.
Dr.
Yeah.
Jordan Peterson one that's way better. That, breaks down your personality way better than that.
they
those-
said a lot of companies, like big companies, are making prospective employees do them. And they said if they ask you to do a personality test, you should explain to them how stupid they are. It's like, well, you're trying to get a job.
Well, at
Which
my
jobs they give you a
college, they for our senior project before they put us into teams, they had us all take personality.
That's what they did with us too, and they put together the perfect team.
Oh, for us, they put together the most imperfect team.
Did they combine all the people with the same qualities
No, different qualities, so that you had conflict.
Oh,
on purpose?
Yes, because they wanted you to realize that in life you're gonna be teamed up with people you don't get along with that are different than you.
That's just mean.
It
for
worked.
my senior project, they just had us put down like which projects we wanted to do, because
Oh.
they had a list of them, and then what we had done or knew or classes we'd taken that would help with that,
Mhm.
and that's how they decided who did what.
Oh, I don't think we got a pick.
And our team worked really well.
We did have some conflict on our team, but I think it was designed that way.
I was out of work at the time, and so I did all the figures for our presentations. And
Oh,
Had
I was
the-
working graveyard at the time, so a lot of times they told me just to go home because I was loopy.
and had the ultimate in my engineering schooling career when I had a professor ask me why I didn't cite my sources for our details, and I said because I drew them, and then dropped the mic.
You dropped your mechanical pencil,
My P
and then your lead broke. Just kidding.
my P207.
I would work a 12-hour.
One of those, and little Nettie goes to war.
It was my stunt double, but I think I can remember.
Uh,
I would work 12-hour night shift and then go to my classes and then go to the shop to work on the project and then go back to work for 12 hours.
Oh, I'd get
Yeah.
up, write two
been there.
resumes or two cover letters for resumes to different companies, send them out, then drive over to campus, hang out for a bit, go to the lab, draw some stuff, work on, went and talk to professors about traffic signal design. Go home.
Yeah, our senior project class was 2 hours every morning from like 8 to 10. And so on the half the week I was working 12-hour shifts, I'd go straight to school from work.
That sucks.
And I, especially when we were coming up with ideas for the project, I just had the most hilarious off the wall ideas, and they would just be like, go home, get some sleep, you're doing us no good. I'm like, okay.
Oh, that sounds like me at work
You're
all day.
suspended.
Oh, my turn.
Yeah.
So I was interested in seeing, because we're going to be running D&D for your friends.
Yes.
So I was trying to decide how, as a DM, I wanted to have you guys roll stats.
Mhm.
Or there's a system where you can just, there's a group of numbers you can use and you can put them where you want without rolling. Or there's also where you get a certain total number of points and you get to arrange them however you want. So I was looking at some where original old school D&D, like original first edition, you just rolled 3d6
Mhm.
6 times, and those are your stats. There's no throwaway dice or take the best one.
Yeah.
And compared to the way it's done now, which typically, if you're going to roll, you roll 4 d6s and throw out the lowest one, take the other 3.
Mhm.
So I wanted to see what the difference was as far as
Oh.
likelihood. So I created an Excel spreadsheet that had like 4 random
your
1 through
wrist.
6 numbers, and then I had it subtract the lowest one, and then I dragged that down to 100 cells, and then the bottom of the final number one, I put an average of those numbers, and then I mirrored that basically. So I had the
Mhm.
next to that one the number with just 3 d6s, and then just hit F9 and watch the numbers go past, and was looking at the differences. It's like 12 and a half. It was looking like 12 and a half for the roll 4, drop the lowest, versus like 10 and a half.
Mm.
Another one. And then, so I was looking at other YouTube videos of trying to see if someone had and I found a guy that's called PhD&D. So it
Mhm.
stepped you through the statistics
Oh, okay.
of each of 4 other methods as well. I guess like when I had you guys originally roll the characters for other group, you guys got to re-roll 1s.
Mhm.
And they had that one, and they had one where you could re-roll 1s and 2s.
Mhm.
And that one was like way too much. That's like almost 14%, which would be of like superhero type status people.
Yeah.
And the other one's like not that much less than that.
Hmm.
It's like maybe a 0.25% less. But the other 2 numbers were almost exactly what I was seeing.
Oh, okay.
And I was waiting. Then I also made one that I made a column that would just count the 18s to see how likely you were to get 18s.
Mhm.
And only once did I see the bigger number on the 3 versus the 4. And sometimes it was like 5 on the 4 and 1 on the other one. So
Well, when we roll my new character on Sunday, we should get on the same page so we can both help
Yeah,
them
that's
create characters when they come over.
why I wanted to do
following
yours
weekend.
early so I can have a helper. Because I
Yeah.
only have one book too.
Oh, what happened to that? Oh, did
Well, when I
Sock
lost my
take the
oldest
other one?
son, I lost all of his friends,
oh, okay.
and so I feel like I lost 4 boys.
Yeah, that sounds about right.
So we also don't have the expanded book that had the
Oh.
extra stuff. So we're just down to basic D&D, which is fine.
Okay.
I bet they have it on Amazon.
They do. They're like $50 a book.
Oh,
Just tell your wife I can either
eBay.
buy this book for $50 or buy a head for the euro. Not just kidding.
I'm not going to go there.
Okay.
Um,
Yeah, I don't suggest you do.
Oh,
either.
and then-
we just want you to stay on the show.
so doing more show prep for your guys' game, I wanted, in case they couldn't figure out what a character was, I set up a way to roll the
I got
percentile
a
dice.
dictionary.
And based on, I set up ranges. So whatever you roll, you can select your race, class, and background if you
by
don't.
rolling.
That's
Yeah.
how I did
So
it.
I just got 3 random people at work to, without knowing it, roll characters by just telling me random numbers or which characters they were, which was interesting. They all picked like neutral evil for their, would be number 3 in the chart.
Sounds about right.
But I had to figure out the percentages.
Is it because they all picked pi as their number?
Possibly. Engineers, what are you gonna do?
Yeah.
Let's see, what was the next one? Oh, and it's also for this, I've been working on one basic city. And so I was thinking about, I was like, in order to get a picture of what it looks like, I'm building the major components in Minecraft.
Wow.
That's kind of wittily extravagant.
You know,
You
you
saw
mentioned
something?
something like that
Yes.
to my wife, and she's like, "That's a really good idea."
Yeah, so Jimmy saw
I
some
saw
of
it.
it
It's
when we first showed.
intricate.
It's going a little crazy. But I was building a railroad bridge before across some forests.
Yeah, I started evolving into just building roads and grading them, and
I've got a barn with horses in it. They loft.
and building bridges. And
I did a mosaic representing the city in the carpet of the throne room.
awesome.
It's pretty cool. I have to show you a picture of that. But so I did that. Oh, then when I golf, I use an app to keep score, which is nice because then it tracks not only my score for each hole, but how many putts I did.
Yeah.
Although a couple of them are like, well, does that 1 or 2 putts? Because if you drive it onto the green, but it lands on the upper tier and the hole's on the lower tier, and no
Mhm.
matter how soft you hit it off the edge, it rolls off this, and you have to pitch again.
Mm-hmm.
Do you not count your first putt?
Should pitch it from the top to the bottom.
I should have maybe. But yeah.
Just hit it in the hole.
Yeah, try that.
Should try that.
Why
I
didn't
get
you
really
try
close
that?
on one because when you go off the side of a hill, wherever it finally takes over and all the momentum goes that direction, it goes straight down the hill. So you got to figure out where the perpendicular or normal to the hill from the hole,
Mm-hmm.
but where you have to figure out the physics of where the ball will tip over and stop having forward momentum and just all sideways momentum.
Yeah.
So
I wasn't yawning
I
because
was
that
just-
explanation was
I was
boring.
just
It's
counting the
because I'm
second one.
tired. So yes, I am tired, Harrison. If you're still listening,
nope, still bipedal.
you can't see what's under my shoes.
It's true. You could have tires. Like
I mean,
Oh, and I
can my
was-
character be Johnny Five?
I was playing some of the new 2019 golf rules.
Johnny Five's alive.
So most of them I was leaving the flag in while I was putting.
Oh, did that help?
I think that they've said that they looked at it, the PGA, and it doesn't help or hurt being it off the pole as it is to stop it.
Being off the.
And mine didn't ever bing off the pole. I was actually having really good range on my putts. So the ones I was hitting were just dropping in.
So if you putt off the green, every stroke after your first
It counts
putt
as a
is a putt, including your chip shot.
Okay, so I was scoring that wrong,
Yep.
but the overall score's the same.
Yeah.
It's just so I can track and see how I'm doing on my putting. And so I'm using it as, I should have counted as 2 because I don't count pitching as putting. Although I'm getting good enough at it, it's probably zero-sum game as whether I could, if it's on the fringe, I'm just as good at pitching it in as putting it in from there. I had
Cool.
some really long putts too. I also had some stupid trees.
In
the
fact, some people have started calling him putts.
way. Oh, sure. My
That's his
nickname
name.
at work was Chipper.
Now it's putts.
No, they did change it. I can't remember to what though.
Oh, I'll have to look it up and see what they changed it to.
All right, our final segment is feedback. We got follows on our website from the blogs Dirty Sci-Fi Buddha and Goof Proof Plan.
Cool.
So I guess check them out too.
I've got a cunning plan. That's
Um,
Baldrick's quote from Blackadder.
Okay.
You haven't seen Blackadder?
I've seen it.
Oh,
Not
you don't remember
much.
Baldrick?
I've not seen it as much as you.
Oh, okay.
A bit.
I got better.
We're what 6 episodes away
Whoa.
from
Oh.
episode 300.
So send in your clips.
That's totes
Send in
cray cray.
clips of you doing one of our segments, or just sharing your nerd cred, or just about how much
Or asking
you
us random
dislike our
questions.
show.
What?
I mean, like our show.
Oh, okay.
You could tell us how much
How
you
much they
don't
just
dislike
like our show.
us.
See if you can tell which ones are real submissions and which ones are me doing fake voices.
Which we may have to resort to if you guys don't
Well,
submit these clips.
If we don't get anything in the next few weeks, we'll just do something else.
Then just
Oh,
listen and
okay.
you hear me mocking people who have listened to the show by trying to do their voice.
Send those clips to engineerdyshow@gmail.com.
That's a real address, not the ones I put out for.
Yes, that's our actual email. You can send comments there as well. Or you
Or
can
grommets.
find us on Facebook and Twitter. An easy way to get there is to go to engineerdyshow.com, and no, it's theengineerdyshow.com. And at the bottom of each episode, there is a link to Facebook and Twitter. While you're at the website, click on our Amazon link to do your Amazon shopping, and that supports the show. Thank you for listening this week. Stay nerdy.
Live long and nerdy.
You have been and always shall be, my friends.
Sup?